Hi, in this video we're going to take a very quick look at the semantics, the definitions of arguments and parameters. So first of all, it really is just semantics. Suppose we have this function here called myfunc, and so we're creating it here, def myfunc, and we have a and b, so we're going to receive two values, a and b, and then we have the code of our function in there. That's going to be something. Now in this context, a and b are called the parameters of myfunc. So when we define a function, then those things in here in parentheses we call parameters. Now one thing that's important to note is that a and b are nothing more than just variable names, and they're local to myfunc. Now when we call the function, let's say we do this, we set x equal to 10, y equal to the string a, and then we call myfunc and we pass those two values x and y. Then in this context, x and y are called the arguments of myfunc. So basically when you call the function, the values that you put in parentheses are called arguments, and when you're defining the function, the things that you have in parentheses are called parameters. What's more important to note is that x and y are passed by reference. In other words, the memory addresses of x and y are passed to myfunc, and so myfunc receives the memory address of x and it's going to store it in A. It's going to receive the memory address of y and it's going to store it in B. So this is just semantics. If you mix up the terms parameters and arguments, it doesn't matter. Everyone will understand what you mean. And in fact, some people don't even try and differentiate between parameters and arguments. They will call everything parameters. Or maybe they'll call everything arguments. Or they'll mix them up and get the wrong terminology. But it really doesn't matter. What's more important is what we mentioned. We've seen this before. I just mentioned it again, but I'm going to mention it one more time. If we have this piece of code sitting in some module, right, x equals 10, y equals a in myfunc, then we also have this function that we have defined, right? Could be in the same module, that's fine, or it could be in a different module. So we have the module scope. In the module scope, we have two variables, x and y. What are those variables? They are memory addresses. They are aliases for the memory address, specifically that is whatever it is that contains this integer 10. So x is a pointer or a reference to this object, and y similarly is a reference to some other object in memory that contains the string a. So when we pass x and y as arguments to myfunc, then myfunc receives the memory addresses. It receives the references. And so in the function scope, we have this variable that we named a, and what gets assigned to it is what was passed in the argument. In other words, the reference of that x is. So in other words, a is also a reference to the same object. It's a pointer to the same memory address, because it's the same memory address. And similarly with b. b is in the function scope. It's a variable name that we've defined inside the function essentially, but it points to the same thing as well that y was pointing to. All right, so that's kind of really important. I know we've seen it before. I just want to re-emphasize it again. All right, so that's it. That's it for the semantics, and then just a little bit of extra here to remember. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.